Jeff Bezos is not one to back down from a challenge, and his latest voyage proves just that. The only CEO who traveled beyond the orbit and landed safely to Earth again. Guess what? The space cowboy Elon? It looks like Elon and SpaceX need some help from Bezos. January 2022 will be an exciting time for space enthusiasts as Amazon founder Jeff Bezos plans to launch his newest satellite, New Glenn rocket. This vehicle sets itself apart from other NASA vehicles because it can carry more cargo and deliver goods faster than ever before. New Glenn, a rocket designed to take cargo and people to orbit, as well as Blue Moon, a lunar lander that could take humans to the moon's surface. Hello fellow space lovers, we're back with another big announcement of Bezos' New Glenn rocket launch of 2022. Subscribe to the Bezos Space YouTube channel so you can catch up on all of our latest videos. Blue Origin, the private space company of Jeff Bezos, has one of their most important projects currently being worked on. New Glenn rocket, a suborbital tourist rocket that will take people to our neighboring planets and back again for just a bucket list level price tag. So far, they've already flown 8 brave souls through these breaches in Earth's atmosphere, including founder and billionaire Jeff Bezos himself. The New Glenn is a large rocket that will use BE-4 engines powered by methane. The first stage has been designed with reusability in mind and can achieve 100,000 pounds of payload to LEO. It has been designed to fully reuse at least 25 flights. The second stage also provides an option for those who want more lift by ULA's Delta IV Heavy. They have not only developed New Glenn, which could take cargo and people into orbit, but also Blue Moon, a lunar lander that will allow humans for the first time ever to visit our nearest celestial body, the Moon. While these two initiatives haven't been completed yet, it's still exciting knowing what awaits ahead with this company in development. In 2020, they were hoping to win a contract from NASA regarding their Artemis program. However, ultimately, they lost out again to SpaceX. Now, the big question is, when will this New Glenn rocket launch? It was just delayed last year, and people are wondering if it'll be anytime soon. The answer is yes. The company's first flight will take place in Q4 of 2022. During the early days of 2011, Blue Origin began developing a heavy-lift orbital launch vehicle capable of inserting 40,000 pounds. This new heavy-lift orbital launch vehicle would be able to place a Blue Origin space capsule weighing 15,000 pounds into the same orbit. This rocket is the New Glenn, and it's supposed to be used for both manned missions to near space as well as unmanned satellite launches. The height of this massive invention is 98 meters, which is 322 feet. And the diameter of the rocket is 7 meters or 23 feet. Blue Origin's latest setbacks with their BE-4 rocket engine have been well documented. It seems Amazon now shares the same frustration as they've decided to use ABL instead of waiting for one from Blue Owsley, which could take up an entire year or more according to reports coming out today. Blue Origin work around the clock to ready the New Glenn rocket ASAP because Project Kuiper is in trouble. You see, they told us that it would cost $10 billion to set up with the 3,236 satellites orbiting around above us. New Glenn is clearly bigger, more powerful, and heavier than SpaceX's Falcon 9, but Falcon 9 has been one of the biggest successes in modern spaceflight. It carries a listed price of $62 million and is already the most used launch vehicle for putting satellites into orbit. The smaller New Glenn launcher will be 270 feet tall and have 2 rocket stages. The larger version will be 313 feet tall and have 3 rocket stages. Both are designed to launch satellites or humans into space, though the latter might be powerful enough to launch payloads and people beyond Earth's grasp. Each rocket will share the same 23-foot wide booster, which can be reused again and again in hopes of lowering the cost of access to space. If Jeff Bezos' plan succeeds, New Glenn rockets will tower over SpaceX's reusable 229-foot-tall Falcon 9 launcher and upcoming heavy-duty rocket. When it launches, SpaceX's Falcon Heavy will have about 30% more thrust than Blue Origin's latest New Glenn rocket. At liftoff, the 9 engines together will generate over 5 million pounds of force, the equivalent of 18 747 aircrafts. However, SpaceX has more advantages in technology and experience since they have several successful completed launches already. Let us know who your favorite is in the comments section. The New Glenn has been designed in 2 stages. The first stage starts vertically, then slowly goes into a 10-degree angle at takeoff. then continues to fly vertically till it reaches maximum velocity. The separation happens when there is no more fuel. The second stage separates from the first. It has two types of propulsion systems that use liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. The BE-4 engine, which is under development of the Blue Origin, is a staged combustion rocket developed using public and private funding. It was the engine that was planned to be used for the New Glenn rocket. The reusability is the main feature of the Blue Origin. It makes space travel cheaper and more accessible than ever before. NASA has awarded Blue Origin with an incredible contract to develop technologies for reusable first stages of launch vehicles. This could lead the way into faster exploration missions as well as reduce costs by 90%. Also, the idea behind Blue Origin's orbital reef is to create a mixed-use business park in space. NASA has already leaps of faith with this project, and now they're ready for more. The manufacturing and assembly of the Blue Origin New Glenn launch is occurring in the Blue Origin Rocket Manufacturing Factory in Florida. They built a factory in Texas but then moved to Florida because it was closer to water for easier transport of heavy cargo, such as the engines used in the New Glenn rocket. The factory will assemble the complete rockets, which include the first and second stages, in addition to mating them to their boosters and putting together payload fairings and nose cones. The factory will also handle processing of propellant tanks, pressurant tanks, rocket engines, avionics, and other related systems up until everything goes to the launch pad. Behind the New Glenn project of Blue Origin, are there other business opportunities that have been created for the company? The answer is yes. The military's primary launch provider, the United Launch Alliance, or ULA, has published the engine they are going to use for their next generation rocket called Vulcan. It was the BE-4 engine which had been originally designed for the New Glenn rocket by the Blue Origin. The CEO of the ULA, Troy Bruno, said, "We are pleased to enter into this partnership with Blue Origin and look forward to a successful first flight of our next generation launch vehicle." The New Glenn rocket was originally planned to launch before the end of 2020, while ULA has announced it will launch the Vulcan rocket before the end of the decade. But New Glenn has been delayed repeatedly since Blue Origin unveiled plans for the rocket about 5 years ago. The latest delay announced by Bezos on Twitter is likely to push back the rocket's first flight until 2022. Not only does this mean that ULA will push its own aggressive timeline back, but also that the Vulcan could end up being launched before the New Glenn. ULA's CEO Troy Bruno was quoted by Express as saying, "Our new advanced booster plans and propulsion plans are coming together nicely. What if the BE-4 engine is not delivered on time? The ULA may have to find an alternative launch provider or delay Vulcan's mission. But there are still chances for it to launch in 2022 as long as everything goes right with Vulcan and its new Centaur variant, the RL-10. Both Blue Origin and SpaceX have development and testing programs in place for crew transport capabilities. Unfortunately, both companies are experiencing delays with their programs because of recent mishaps. Fortunately, successful development of the heavy-lift orbital launch vehicles would provide an alternative to both companies when sending crews and cargo into space. Bezos' vision is millions of people living and working in space, and New Glenn is a very important step. It won't be the last, of course. The race to space is open, and Blue Origin just took a big step forward with their new launch system. Will they be able to put out an end of 2022 date, or will we see this thing flying soon enough? You can leave your feedback below in the comment section. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to give a like, subscribe, and a share. Stay safe, and we will meet again soon with another exciting Bezos space video.